Welcome to the Banana Podcast, where we're calling a spade a spade. Great to be here with you guys today after being in the news for a comment she made on her podcast. Sophie Cunningham's week that keeps on giving has hit a new high. She started out the week on Good Morning America, and now she is closing out the week starring in an Adidas commercial highlighting the new shoes that are about to be released. Sophie Cunningham has taken the ball and ran with it. For that, Sophie Cunningham, kudos to you. Making lemonade out of the lemons that you've been given. Capitalizing.
The Adidas commercial dropped, featuring Sophie Cunningham, showcasing new shoes, and immediately, an undeniable tension sparked. Fans were barely celebrating her viral moment when whispers about her contract status turned into a roar. She had just publicly mused about playing for teams, not the Indiana Fever, just as her fame exploded with this massive Adidas push. The timing was brutal, a direct challenge to the team that arguably helped launch her into this new stratosphere. Was this a calculated power play, or just honest ambition spilling out? The league watched. The Fever front office certainly watched, as their rising star's future suddenly hung in the balance, amplified by a multi-million-dollar ad campaign. Her face on a global brand, her words hinting at an exit. It was an explosive mix.
So, lads, today we're going to be talking a little bit about Sophie Cunningham. Why? Because Sophie Cunningham's podcast has got a lot of people saying, giving their opinions on this, and people don't realize how good Sophie Cunningham is at basketball, and how important having Sophie Cunningham is for the Fever winning a championship. Look, there is a caveat, and the caveat is Caitlin Clark on the team? If the answer is yes, then I'm not joking when I say
this wasn't just any Adidas commercial, it was her commercial, highlighting new X colorways from Adidas and Damian Lillard. Sophie Cunningham was the undeniable star, not alongside an NBA player, but front and center, pushing the new Z99 shoes. The brand saw the money, saw the star she was becoming, and capitalized, specifically showcasing electric pink, a savvy marketing move, playing right into her persona. It wasn't a coincidence that this ad dropped after a week of massive media exposure, from Good Morning America to blowing up TikTok and Instagram. Adidas strategically aligned this release to capture maximum eyeballs and convert that hype into sales, cementing her as a major bankable figure in sports marketing.
Maybe mention some cities that aren't Indiana. Has fans asking the question, is Sophie Cunningham coming back? Are the Fever front office going to blow this? Are the Fever front office going to offer her a max contract? Before we get into it, would you guys offer Sophie Cunningham a max contract? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Like the video, subscribe. Let's get right into the commercial that has people talking about Sophie Cunningham as of late.
All new X colorways from Adidas and Damian Lillard.
Say night-night to your opponent in night purple. Be in your element with black sulfur.
Sophie's week truly became the gift that kept on giving, a masterclass in turning lemons into lemonade. She rode a wave of newfound fame after defending Caitlin Clark, securing major deals like Arby's and a ring sponsorship. Her social media presence exploded, transforming her into a viral sensation. This Adidas commercial was merely the latest, most visible peak of this incredible surge. She had taken every opportunity presented to her and ran with it, building an empire almost overnight. This wasn't just about basketball anymore. It was about brand Sophie Cunningham, a force clearly recognized by global giants. The question now was, how would her team respond to this growing independent power?
shoots better regardless of volume. She is a better slasher than Lexi. She is a better three-point shooter than Lexi. She's a better passer than Lexi. Her offensive IQ is higher than Lexi. Her ability to be a defensive stopper is higher than Lexi. But Lexi Hull is the best in the league at what she does. Like, this is not me saying you choose one or the other. But which one fits significantly better beside Caitlin Clark? Like, archetype role, what you need beside a Caitlin Clark? Sophie. When Lexi touches the ball's gone up. And this isn't like a knock on Lexi. I want to keep both of them. But like Sophie...
But then came the bombshell. Sophie Cunningham, amidst this commercial glory, spoke candidly about her potential new contract. She mentioned bigger contract, and even some cities that aren't Indiana, openly questioning her future with the Fever. This wasn't just speculation, it was a direct statement from the player herself. Immediately after a week of immense positive publicity, fans were left reeling, asking, is Sophie Cunningham coming back? The front office now faced immense pressure. Would they offer her a max contract, or risk losing a player whose market value was clearly skyrocketing both on and off the court? The tension was palpable, creating a huge dilemma.
Sophie Cunningham commercial, let's be honest here. This isn't her alongside another WNBA player. This isn't her alongside another NBA player. This is a Sophie Cunningham commercial selling these new Dame shoes. Adidas sees the money that Sophie Cunningham is, see the star that she is becoming, that she continues to become, and said, yep, we're gonna capitalize on that. She's already been underneath the brand. She's already been affiliated with Adidas, and they said, let's push that button real quick. We see her on let's push that button. We see her TikTok blowing up, her Instagram blowing up. Let's get some.
The Fever front office found themselves in an unenviable position. While Sophie deserved a substantial deal, they also had Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston, two cornerstone players whose max contracts were looming. Could they afford to give Sophie a max deal without hindering future plans for their other stars? Many argued against a max for Sophie, suggesting a quality contract that respects her contribution, but doesn't break the bank. The consensus, something around $500K, $600Ks per year. A deal good enough for her forever home in Indiana, but not the absolute top tier. It was a delicate balancing act, trying to retain a popular, effective player without derailing long-term financial strategy.
Get the ball moving side to side. Like, she has more of a point guard brain than any player in the Fever not named Caitlin Clark. She passes laterally. She is the only player not named Aaliyah Boston who swings the rock on the entire team. But fans are so obsessed with, we need to get a max contract small forward. No, we don't. We have 3 max contract players. We don't need any more. We saw Jewel Lloyd take an entire season to learn how to become a role player. They did not need Jewel Lloyd to be Jewel Lloyd. They needed Jewel Lloyd, the role player. And it took her a season to figure it out. We already have that player. We have that.
It's crucial to understand that Sophie Cunningham wasn't an unknown before Indiana. While her time with the Fever, especially her passionate defense of Caitlin Clark in that infamous headlock incident, launched her to a new level, she already had significant cachet. On the Phoenix Mercury, she was building a name, especially on TikTok and Instagram, even earning the polarizing nickname MAGA Barbie. She had cultivated a strong personal brand and following long before this recent explosion. This meant she wasn't just a beneficiary of the Caitlin Clark effect. She was a player with pre-existing star power, now amplified exponentially, giving her even more leverage in contract talks.
Sophie Cunningham, salute to you. So many people would love to buy some Sophie Cunningham Adidas merchandise. Please make it happen. Don't want a PE, I want her own shoe. I gotta be honest. The term electric pink for Sophie Cunningham, electric pink? Applause. Kudos. Marketing. Dollars. I don't hate that name either. Extra spicy. Hey, I'm not mad.
Beyond the commercial fame, Sophie Cunningham is an incredibly valuable, almost perfect fit for a Caitlin Clark-led team. Her style of play complements Clark's perfectly, especially compared to Lexi Hull. Sophie is a better slasher, a more consistent three-point shooter regardless of volume, and a superior passer. Her offensive IQ is notably higher, and she brings a stronger defensive presence. In a system where Clark and Kelsey Mitchell dominate the ball, you need players who can score efficiently on low volume and play solid defense, a role Sophie excels at. She provides the connective tissue, the lateral passing, and the consistent shooting that unlocks Clark's full potential, a truly vital piece.
They did not need Jewel Lloyd to be Jewel Lloyd. They needed Jewel Lloyd, the role player. And it took her a season to figure it out. We already have that player. We have that player that can do what Jewel Lloyd did in the playoffs, and it's Sophie. Like, let's not forget, at the time of her injury, she had literally gone through a 10-game stretch when you could argue that she was the Fever's best player. You could argue she was the Fever's best player over a 10-game stretch right before she got injured. Like, she's fantastic, and there are not many other Sophie Cunninghams in the league. Like Bridget, like Kayla McBride might be like the one player I'm like, okay.
What truly sets Sophie apart is her exceptional versatility and high basketball IQ. She can effectively play positions 1 through 4, adapting her game as needed. While not a primary point guard, she possesses a point guard brain, capable of setting up offense, moving the ball side to side, and making smart lateral passes. She's the only player on the Fever, besides Aaliyah Boston, who consistently swings rock and keeps the offense fluid. This ability to fill multiple roles without needing high volume makes her indispensable. She's not just a shooter or a defender, she's a complete connector, seamlessly integrating into any lineup, making everyone around her better with her intelligent play.
For instance, I'm sure this commercial was shot weeks ago or months ago, but it's no coincidence that we have Good Morning America on Monday and we close out with an Adidas commercial. That's how this is done. You build and you build and you build, you reach that climax, boom, hit them with the commercial. Salute to Sophie Cunningham. I like the nicknames. Extra Spicy, Electric Pink. Absolutely awesome. I'm so happy to see Sophie coining it. I'd like her to get enough money to buy a house so that she can play for the team she wants to play for, not be focused on the earnings. Sophie Cunningham, folks, between her Instagram and
the argument for Sophie Cunningham's absolute irreplaceability on the Fever is stark. Many believe that to replicate what she brings to the team, you would need to sign 3 different specialists. You'd need one player for her low-volume shooting, another for her defensive versatility across multiple positions, being a solid 6 out of 10 defender at 3 different spots, and a third for her connective passing and willingness to adapt to any role, finding a single player who can do all of this, who slides into whatever the DM hell needs to be done, and will do it at a 7 out of 10 rate, is described as nearly impossible. She is a genuine unicorn in the league.
There's no player in the draft. If anyone tries to tell me that one-dimensional 3 and no D Garzone is a good player, and this is the problem, is like, everyone wants these specialists, Jesus, but they do one thing. I'm like, I don't care if Gianna Niepkins can shoot 40% from 3. If she can't guard a parked car, she's not going to be able to stay on the floor long enough to shoot 40, to make an impact. Like, people are like, oh, we can get these players. Like, Garzone, Niepkins. Like, people are actually saying that these are players that are comparable to Sophie Cunningham.
The comparison between Sophie and Lexi Hull is a key factor in the Fever's decision. While Lexi's hustle is exceptional, her shooting thrives on high volume, often struggling when her shots are limited. Sophie, conversely, shoots well regardless of volume. She's a better slasher, a better three-point shooter, and a better passer. For a team built around Caitlin Clark, who commands a high usage rate, Sophie's low volume efficiency and defensive capabilities make her a significantly better fit than Lexi's high volume style. While both are valuable, Sophie's archetype perfectly complements Clark, making her the ideal player to have alongside a generational talent, ensuring offensive flow and defensive stability.
she wants the house money, no pun intended, to come from a basketball team. She wants the house money to come from her main job, so to speak, playing basketball. And who's going to give her that contract? Well, Sophie Cunningham speaks on what she wants in her next contract.
And I think the next team I play for, I want a bigger contract, so then I can buy a house and be homey and cozy.
Fuck yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. That could be the Liberty. It could be New York City. It could also be the Lynx, and it could be Minneapolis. Like, you just don't know.
It could be anywhere.
Now, here's the thing.
Despite the looming max contracts for Clark in Boston, the Fever actually have significant salary cap flexibility, with Clark in Boston still on rookie deals, effectively playing on free contracts, earning under $100K combined, less than a single rookie this year. The team has considerable space. This means they can afford to pay 4 max contracts if necessary. The notion that paying Sophie a substantial, even near max contract would lose them a championship is challenged. Instead, it's argued that with careful management, perhaps a 1-year max for Sophie or a long-term deal around $900Ks, they can retain their core without financial collapse.
By free contracts, the minimum contract seems to be $300K. They're getting paid $80. They're getting paid under $100K. They are free. KK Timpson, Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston's salary combined does not equal one rookie coming in this year. One rookie from this year's class. You have 3 players for free. You are playing around with 9 spots. You're literally just messing about with 9 spots. Sorry, 8 spots, because Christy Wallace is going to be coming back. And Christy Wallace is making 80k. You basically have the entire salary cap to spend on 8 spots. You can pay 4 max contracts, which means you're probably going to pay someone who's not worth a max contract or near that.
Let's not forget Sophie's on-court resume. She was a starter in a WNBA Finals in her 3rd year, showcasing her big game experience and reliability. Last year, she had the best season of her career, consistently delivering impactful performances. There was even a 10-game stretch where she was arguably the Fever's best player right before an injury. In critical moments, like when the Mercury demolished the Fever, it was Sophie Cunningham who single-handedly willed her team back into the game with a 45-point performance. Her ability to step up in clutch situations and carry the load is not to be underestimated. She has proven herself as a reliable, high-performing asset.
Yes, that moment against the Connecticut Sun where she put J.C. Sheldon in the headlock while putting her fists up. Crazy work. Nice work. That took her to a level above that. But even when she was on the Phoenix Mercury, Sophie Cunningham did have some cachet. Sophie Cunningham was building a name for herself as far as her TikTok goes, as far as her Instagram goes, as far as her likeness goes, as far as her appeal goes. She already had the nickname MAGA Barbie, like it or not, over there in Phoenix Mercury. So she already had some
Sophie's comments about wanting a bigger contract aren't necessarily a demand for a max deal, but a clear signal against being lowballed. Even a $400,000 offer might be perceived as insufficient considering her rising profile and on-court contributions. She seeks a deal that allows her to buy a house and be homey and cozy, indicating a desire for financial security from her primary profession, basketball. She's already racking up significant income from endorsements and social media, so the team contract needs to reflect her true value, ensuring she views Indiana as her forever home rather than just a stepping stone to a better deal elsewhere.
And they can still put together a real championship winning team by keeping Sophie. And to replace Sophie Cunningham, you are going to lower your championship window. Because to replace Sophie, you literally are going to replace what Sophie does, you might need to sign 3 players. To replace what Sophie gives you as a with her shooting, you need to sign somebody. To replace what Sophie gives you as her defensive versatility, I'm not saying she's a great defender, but what I'm saying is she has the ability to be a 6 out of 10 defender at 3 different positions. To replace that versatility, you need another player. To
Replacing Sophie Cunningham wouldn't just be difficult, it would be incredibly costly, potentially requiring multiple free agent signings at higher price points. When reviewing potential 2026 free agents, finding a player with her unique blend of skills, versatility, and fit is a huge challenge. Many available players are max contract talents who don't fit the low-volume, versatile role, or are specialists who lack her all-around game. Even players like Bridget Carlton, who might be comparable, would likely cost more than Sophie's desired contract. The narrative that there are so many Sophie Cunninghams in the draft is dismissed as false. Players without a weakness and her specific utility are exceedingly rare.
On top, as she should. Salute to you, Sophie. Now the question is, what is she talking about as far as the deal goes? Are we talking $400,000 a year over the next 4 years? That's house money. That's enough for a house. $600,000 per year over the next 4 years. What, a 4-year, $24 million contract? $2.4 million contract. Excuse me. 4-year, $2.4 million contract. She gets $600,000 a year. That's enough for a house. So it doesn't necessarily need to be a max contract to get Sophie Cunningham to stay on the Indiana Fever. It just needs to be
The modern WNBA often seeks specialists, players who excel at one specific thing, like shooting or defense. However, Sophie Cunningham represents a rare breed, the unicorn utility player. She can defend multiple positions, shoot effectively without high volume, pass laterally, and seamlessly integrate into diverse offensive sets. This contrasts sharply with players who are one-dimensional 3 and no D guards, or those who can't guard a parked car despite their shooting prowess. The script emphasizes that teams lose by acquiring specialists who can't stay on the floor to make an impact, highlighting Sophie's consistent, versatile contributions as far more valuable than niche talents.
They are unicorns. They are rarer. They are rarer than people we call unicorns. You need 3 players to replace her. Purely basketball reasons. If you don't like Sophie Cunningham, fine. There is no other Sophie Cunninghams. She is irreplaceable. She is absolutely irreplaceable as a player. Without, like, the only way you can replace Sophie Cunningham is by, you would basically have to go and restructure the entire roster and find 3 different specialists in different, some as a starter, some as a bench, and some as a...
The argument for keeping Sophie Cunningham is intrinsically linked to Caitlin Clark's role. If the Fever are serious about building around Clark as the fucking system, then Sophie is an essential, almost perfect piece. Her ability to play off-ball, her lateral passing, and her low-volume scoring complement Clark's high usage rate, allowing Clark to thrive either on or off the ball. Without Sophie, the team risks reverting to accidental basketball, relying on individual talent like Kelsey Mitchell's isolation scoring. Losing Sophie would fundamentally alter the team's championship aspirations, signaling a departure from a true system-based approach centered around their superstar, Caitlin Clark. The Fever has strategic choices, and affordability isn't the issue. They can realistically afford to keep their core 7 players, Clark, Boston, Mitchell, Sophie, KK Timpson, and potentially others, and still sign a max-level power forward like Azara Steven. The suggestion is to offer Sophie a short-term, perhaps 1-year max, or a longer-term deal around $900K, while also securing Lexi Hull. This strategy allows them to maintain a deep, versatile roster and fill out the bench with veteran minimums and rookies. Dismissing Sophie would indicate a desire to get rid of Sophie rather than a financial necessity, a move that would fundamentally weaken their championship window. The Adidas commercial wasn't just a win for Sophie Cunningham's personal brand, it laid bare the Indiana Fever's critical decision: keep their irreplaceable, versatile star who perfectly complements Caitlin Clark, or risk losing her due to a contract dispute. If the Fever chooses to let Sophie walk, it's a statement. They are sacrificing a championship window, not just for next year, but for the foreseeable future. Losing a player so uniquely fitted to facilitate Clark's success, a true unicorn of versatility and efficiency, would be a catastrophic strategic error. The ball is now firmly in the Fever's court, and their choice will define their championship aspirations more than any viral ad.